If you've ever sat and pondered great scientific questions like why is the sky blue, what was the Big Bang, or what's inside a black hole, then Café Scientifique in Dubai is just for you. For the price of a cup of coffee, anyone can come to explore the latest ideas in science and technology, and it doesn't matter if you're an expert or not, you just have to be curious. With us now is Rohan Roberts, the founder of Café Scientifique. Thanks so much for being with us today,
My
Rohan.
pleasure. Great to be here.
Now, how did you get started? What is the inspiration behind this?
Right. Well, the first Café Scientifique started in Leeds in 1998, where I was a student. And it spread all across the UK and Europe and North America. And Café Scientifique Dubai is the first of its kind in the Middle East. And the idea is to talk about science, but in a non-academic setting, away from teachers, away from a classroom. Because for most people, the last time they engaged with science was in high school, where it was taught as a dull body of facts. But science is much more than that. Science is a way of thinking. And when you look at the world through a scientifically literate lens, the world becomes a completely different place full of explanations and free from superstition and fuzzy thinking. So the idea is to meet like-minded people. I'm an educationist. I teach literature in a high school. And so it's to meet like-minded people and also educate the general public about science, but in an informal setting.
It's ironic that you teach literature, but you're talking about science.
Well, it's about scientific thinking. It's about the scientific method, and science has the power of explanations. And people who come to the Café Scientifique meetings are very curious about the world. They're curious to find answers. They're
Now,
curious
what
to
kind
learn.
of reaction have you had so far? Is science popular in Dubai more than you thought it would be?
Incredibly positive reaction. We've had people driving up from Abu Dhabi, Ajman, and Sharjah, and it's been growing in popularity. We're in our 5th month now, and we've had numerous people show up, and it's spread by word of mouth and on Facebook. So yeah, on the whole, incredibly popular and very positive reaction.
So it's become UAE-wide. And tell us about the timings and the days.
Right, we meet on the last Friday of every month at Leela Cafe in Tecom, and we meet between 5 and 6:30.
Now, can it be intimidating if you don't know much about the topics being discussed, or if you don't know much about what's being asked on the off chance?
Yeah, well, everybody is welcome. Whether you're a science nerd or a science novice, we welcome everyone because the idea is to have a conversation and to learn. And those who have the subject knowledge can share their ideas, and those who just want to sit back and listen can be passive and listen. It's very conversational, and there's no boss, there's no lecturer in charge. It's about having a cup of coffee, listening to people, and learning and meeting new people.
And what are some of the best discussions you've had? What have you learned from them?
Well, so far we've talked about the edge of the universe. We've spoken about brain-to-brain interface and neuroscience, the difference between science and pseudoscience, and perhaps the more interesting one was de-extinction. We're now in a position to bring back recently extinct species. And so it was a philosophical discussion about whether or not we should do it, just because we have the ability to do it now.
Do you find that many people believe in myths, and you're kind of correcting that wrong thinking?
In fact, our previous meeting was about pseudoscience. And so the idea is to have this conversation, try and figure out why people believe what they believe. And in fact, our next meeting is about why questions, the mysteries in science. So we'll talk about the mystery of consciousness, what is dark matter, dark energy, what is the wellspring of creativity, where do we get our sense of humor from? But we'll also answer why questions like, why is the sky blue? Why do we occasionally see double rainbows? Why are all the planets round? So if people are curious about stuff that they've always wondered about, they can come along, ask their questions, and we'll try and answer them.
Great. Okay, well, viewers can find you on Facebook. Founder of Café Scientifique, Rohan Roberts. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, another break now. But afterwards, we'll have the day's sport as the UAE warm up for a sandy challenge in Tahiti. Stay with us.